Hello and happy Monday. There have been so many new releases over this past week. I have a Google Doc with all the new releases in preparation for this video every week, and let me tell you, the Google Doc, these are all my notes. It is insane how many fragrances have been announced. But if you're new here, every Monday I aggregate all the new releases, or rather most of them, and I talk about them in a video for you guys. I call this series Smash or Pass. Why do I call it Smash or Pass? Well, because whenever we are faced with a new fragrance, we always end up looking at the notes and we always end up kind of making a decision about whether or not we want to buy a fragrance and why. And that's why it's called Smash or Pass. It's a playful way to make a commentary on consumerism and buying behaviors. So if you're interested in seeing what the new releases are, because there are quite a bit, definitely do keep on watching. Stay tuned because we have a lot to cover. If this is your first time on this channel, hello, my name is Anya. I love fragrances. I talk about them here 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. I also publish additional content on TikTok and Instagram under the username ANECHKAFRAGRANCES, and I do have a podcast called The Fragrance Report. So if you're interested in fragrance history, analyzing trends, things like that, if you're interested in listening to a new podcast, definitely check it out. And by the way, this is not my first video filming with this new setup, but it's the first video that you guys are seeing. But I have added a microphone to my setup, and this is not the first mic that I've had, but the first one that I did have, you guys absolutely hated. I received so much feedback from so many of you saying the sound is not good. And I was like, well, I'm using a microphone, and when I don't use a microphone, people don't like it. When I do use a microphone, people also don't like it. So then I literally started taking my old phone and doing a voice memo recording, and that was my sound. And that seemed to be okay, but then I was listening to it and I'm like, I don't like it. Plus, like with the editing, I started like kind of experiencing some issues syncing the audio to the video. I'm not going to get into the technical know-how of it because it's just really long-winded and I don't know if you guys want to hear that. But long story short, I was so fed up with editing my audio that I decided to get a microphone. And here it is. Here it is. So I'm going to put it down here. Okay, hopefully that's not too loud for you guys. But yes, I have a new microphone. And this past weekend I've filmed like a few videos. So if you guys hate the sound, please tell me now, but also understand that I've done a lot of pre-filming. So if you guys hate the sound and it doesn't change within a week, it's because I pre-film a lot. So yeah, but seriously, tell me what you think of this audio. Is it better? I think it's better. I don't think it's as scratchy as it was before, which is good. I have one video that I filmed with the old audio, so if you see that this week, that's why. But please let me know how the audio is. I do appreciate y'all's feedback. But also, I mean, sometimes it's hard to like make changes because at the end of the day, it's just me, and I'm, doing my own thing, and I'm trying to put out videos, and I'm trying to create the best content I can for you, but at the end of the day, I'm just one person, so I'm doing my best. But I'm really happy with this mic. I'm so glad I got it. Yeah, and it's actually a good mic because my last mic was not the greatest at all. So yeah, let me know what you think. But yeah, anyway, done with the yapping, let's get into the video. If you happen to be a fan of Paco Rabanne's Olympéa, they're launching a new fragrance called Olympéa Absolu. This will be an ambery vanilla perfume with top notes of apricot, a mid of jasmine, and then a base of amber and vanilla. Personally, I'm not super familiar with the Olympéa line. I've smelled a few of the fragrances, but not enough to actually be able to speak at length about it. I will say that this just seems like one of those basic fragrances that if you don't have this in your collection, this might be a good one to try. But as someone who already does have like apricot peachy fragrances, I already have something similar to this. I really don't need to go out of my way to consider this fragrance, so this will be a pass for me personally. But if this sounds good to you, this might be worth trying out. We do have a really intriguing release from Kayali. I imagine this will be very much hyped, as are most of the Kayali releases, if not all of them. But this is Fleur Majesty Rose Royale 31. This is a fragrance with notes of mandarin orange, juicy pear, and sweet peach at the top, a heart of magnolia, peony, rose centrifolia, and violet wood, and then a base of vetiver, Kayali signature accord, ambrox super, vanilla, praline, and musk. From what we've seen so far, based on all the sneak previews, based on the initial teasers, it looks like this will be kind of a continuation of Vanilla 28, but a more complex version, as you can probably tell by the notes I just listed. This sounds really exciting, and they are going for like a royal theme in the whole marketing. They're going for something that looks kind of similar to Versailles aesthetic. You might already be familiar with what I'm referring to. But also, if you have questions about what the Kayali signature accord is, a while back, Mona Katan made the decision to have a similar accord in all the fragrances. So you know by smelling a fragrance that it is a Kayali perfume, which makes sense considering that they have so many different fragrances. And if you are someone who loves Kayali fragrances, you will most likely love all of their fragrances, or you will like all of them. And I know that's like an oversimplification and perhaps an overgeneralization, but I have found that people who tend to be obsessed with the Kayali perfumes are generally obsessed with all of them. Me personally, I love Mona Katan as a role model for an entrepreneur, for, you know, social media personality. I really look up to her so much, but I don't necessarily, you know, love her fragrances to the extent that I think a lot of people online do. A lot of people online really do hype them up, and I think they do smell wonderful, but they're just not the fragrances that I love. I mean, I really loved Young Bougie Marshmallow, but also that fragrance doesn't last as long as I want it to. And at the end of the day, her fragrances are priced at designer pricing, and I'm not going to critique her pricing because I think, like, you know, whatever she prices her fragrance at, or her fragrances at, is warranted. But I do wish her fragrances lasted longer. That's just my personal thing. I think on some people they last longer, but on me they just don't, unfortunately. But this does seem exciting. I am looking forward to sampling this. But yeah, let me know, what do you think of this release, and are you looking forward to sampling it as well? I am really intrigued by the fact that this does seem to be a continuation to the Vanilla 28 craze. But I will say I want them to bring back Musk 12 so bad. That was one of their first fragrances, and I think Mona Katan has mentioned that it might have been a fragrance that was mismarketed at the time because they marketed it as a musk fragrance, when in reality it's a little bit more complex than that. So it actually was one of their, you know, lowest sellers. But I think on social media that fragrance has gotten a lot of like kind of niche hype. Like, I mean, niche hype in the sense people who are obsessed with fragrances have kind of been, you know, calling for its relaunch. So I imagine they might be bringing it back. When that happens, I will be so excited. But yeah, so let me know what you think of this release. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Okie dokie, moving on to the next item. We have a new launch from Penhaligons. So they are launching this fragrance called Fortuitous Finley. This is going to be a fragrance inspired by, you know, horses. And this is a woody leather fragrance. And it has notes of sandalwood, pistachio, leather, and salt. I am very confused about the inclusion of pistachio in this fragrance. Personally, that's like my big question mark. I don't know what they were thinking. It seems they kind of like decided to launch it with the fragrance because it might be trendy, but I don't necessarily know if that fits into the theme of this fragrance, but I also haven't smelled it, so I can't really make a judgment on that. But if you're interested in hearing more about Penhaligons and the history of the house and like learn more about, you know, their royal affiliations, definitely check out the latest episode of my podcast, The Fragrance Report, because I talked about fragrances in the British royal family, and Penhaligons actually does have a long-standing relationship with the British royals. A lot of the British royal family has been using Penhaligons for a really long time. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, definitely do check out that podcast episode. But in general, I find myself really drawn to leather fragrances. So this does seem like something I would love to try out. I would say the fragrance that I really do want to try from Penhaligons is the Bluebells fragrance, which was said to be Princess Diana's favorite perfume, which I did mention in that podcast episode if you're interested in seeing it. But yeah, that's the fragrance I really want to try from Penhaligons. I was thinking of blind buying it, but then I was like, I can't do that. Like, that's just not a good idea. But if you've tried it, please let me know what you think of it, because I really kind of want to try it for spring, because I feel like it would be a good one for spring. especially with the aldehydes. I love aldehydes. So moving on, we have a new release from the Carolina Herrera private line. This is called Cute Chaos. And this is a fruity floral with patchouli with top notes of blackcurrant, a mid of magnolia, and then a base of patchouli. Not gonna lie, I think this is cute. I love how playful it is. They have a little toadstool on the bottle. This is cute. I like this. I'm not gonna like buy it just because it's cute, but I do like it a lot. That's adorable. I love a cute little toadstool. Oh wait, you know it'd be so cool? But this will probably be completely messed up because of licensing and like copyright, because they're always so like particular about it. But if someone came out with a fragrance line like in a bottle similar to this, but with Winnie the Pooh charms on it, that would be so cool. Like Winnie the Pooh charms, like a little bit of honey, some symbolism for like the different characters, maybe like a little like cute face of like Winnie the Pooh or like Eeyore or Roo. That would be so cool. Or Tigger. Like if they came out with that collection, that would be nice. But Disney is so like so choosy about who they allow to license their name for products. I mean, it would be a nightmare. Like I doubt that that would ever happen. But I know that House of Siage does have a relationship with Disney. I think it's because the owner's husband is in the Hollywood or in the entertainment industry. So she kind of has that ability to do the collaborations with Warner Bros, do the collaborations with Disney. So that's why you see House of Siage come out with all these fragrances inspired by movies. That's how they're able to do it. My vision isn't necessarily like going to align with like the cupcake bottles that House of Siage does. I would say something that's like more minimal, something that's more streamlined but still cutesy like this. Like this is more my taste. I don't really want anything that's like gaudy. I want something that's like minimal but still cute. Like elegant, but like if you look a little bit closer, there's an element of playfulness. That's something I really love. So yeah, that would be so cool. I don't know. Yeah, Disney's not going to do that. But anyway, moving on to Philosophy. Now there are two new releases from Philosophy. We have Radiant Grace Intense, and we also have Fresh Cream Soft Velvet. So let's talk about Radiant Grace Intense first. Now, this will be a fragrance with notes of raspberry accord and blossoms at the top, a heart of black cherry, jasmine, and vanilla, and then a base of sandalwood. On the other hand, Fresh Cream Soft Velvet will have notes of ginger accord at the top, a heart of Casablanca lily, and then a base of vanilla and chocolate. You know, it's kind of interesting because Fresh Cream Soft Velvet, like the general aesthetic of the bottle, I feel like this would just look better with a cherry fragrance note and like cherry raspberry. I feel like they should flip the bottle designs because it's a little bit misleading. I don't know why they did that, but yeah. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I am not too big of a fan of the general aesthetic of the Philosophy bottles. I know that the pricing is pretty affordable at around $54, so I kind of understand why they're mass producing these bottles that look like this, because, I mean, this is the kind of bottle that you could just order from a manufacturer and you wouldn't have to change much, you just have to slap a sticker on it. So really the overhead for this is not that expensive to begin with. Bottles do get more expensive once you start adding in customizations, and they're not doing that here. So their overhead must be really, really cheap or really affordable. So I don't know. I don't really get excited about Philosophy fragrances because I've never smelled a Philosophy fragrance that I've loved. I've smelled a bunch that I liked, but nothing that I've loved enough to like actually go out and purchase it. And I think it kind of depends on like who I am as a customer, right? Because I already have so many fragrances in my collection that it really takes something exceptional for me to be like, okay, I really want to buy this. I feel like Philosophy is a brand that's so approachable for people who don't want a fragrance that's like super powerful. They don't want a fragrance that's going to be like super, intense, and I'm just not that customer. So this doesn't align with what I want in a fragrance, but I feel like this would be a really, this is a really approachable brand that's worth trying, especially if you're newer to fragrance and you just want something that's good for like every day, or if you want something that's easily giftable, this is a good option, but it's just not for me personally. Another fragrance that I saw and I was really intrigued by is Miami Shake by Juliette has a Pew Pew. And this is a fragrance that combines fruity and gourmand notes. It's inspired by Miami. Oh my goodness, what a surprise. And this is a fragrance that has sweet vanilla notes of strawberry at the top, a mid of ice cream, and then a base of vanilla absolute. This sounds very intriguing and very fun. I want to smell this. We have not been seeing strawberry enough in fragrances because I feel like Burberry Her pretty much dominated the designer strawberry realm, and I feel like it's nice to see more strawberry fragrances. I mean, like, yes, Yambuji Marshmallow is a kind of like a strawberry marshmallow, but it is nice to see more brands come out with strawberry fragrances, and I'm looking forward to smelling this one and seeing how it is. So in a lot of the marketing, by the way, they do have like what looks like little strawberry and ice cream stickers on the bottle. I don't know if they've already done this, but if they have the option to buy the sticker sheet of strawberries or of stickers with the strawberries, with the vanilla ice cream cone, with like the little mini stickers of the fragrance, I think that would be a really cool idea. I know Philosophy does do sticker sheets because I know that when I worked at fragrance, or when I worked at a beauty store, they would provide all the employees like around the holidays like with this sticker sheet of like Philosophy fragrance. I don't know if Juliette has a Pew Pew does that. But if they do, that would be really cool. Like, that would be really smart, especially if they share it with the general public, because everyone likes stickers. And this is a really cool and essentially low-cost way to advertise or market your brand just by launching stickers to go alongside your fragrances. So if they're doing that, that's really smart. If they're not doing that, they should. This is by Obvious. They're coming out with a milk and matcha fragrance. And this has top notes of ginger oil, tangerine heart, and mandarin oil at the top, a heart of matcha accord, orange flower absolute, and mate oil, and then a base of vanilla bean extract, tonka bean absolute, and Peru balsam. But yeah, this is in alignment with what I've been talking about for, the last month and a half, talking about how in 2025 we'll likely start seeing a lot of A, savory gourmands, and B, gourmands inspired by Eastern perfume or Eastern gourmand notes. So matcha, rice, tea. This is in alignment with that prediction. So this does seem really interesting. I would love to smell this one. Next up, we have a new fragrance by Sarah Baker. This is called Prism Head, and the narrative behind this is really intriguing. So there's a script in the box with the perfume once you purchase it, and there's a story associated with the fragrance. So this is a quote from the marketing brief. Prism Head follows two young travelers, Carrie and Sam, on a biking journey across America that takes a dark turn when they get caught in a storm in Colorado. After seeking shelter in a remote cabin, they encounter an enigmatic trio, Gordy, Marcia, and Beau, who live off the land in isolation, raising questions about their past and intentions. As strange occurrences escalate within the cabin, the atmosphere becomes tense, leaving Carrie and Sam uncertain of who or what they can trust. And the notes of this fragrance include earthy and aromatic accords, but we have top notes of mushroom, cannabis, and lemon, a mid of geosmin, costus, and musk, interesting, and then a base of vetiver, patchouli, and incense. Okay, so here's the thing when it comes to cannabis fragrances. I actually prefer not to wear them, or fragrances with cannabis, mushroom notes, because I just don't want to smell like that, And even if it's just a little bit, like I just don't want to smell like that at all. It's just not to my taste. I understand if someone does, and no judgment, but me personally, these are not notes that I prefer. So this will be a pass, but in general, I am really interested in hearing more about Sarah Baker in 2025. I feel like they're really expanding and they're becoming more popular, which is fantastic. And I would love to see what they're launching in 2025 moving forward. So I love the story behind this. I love the concept, but this will be a pass for me. This one fragrance, but I've smelled some of their other perfumes and they have some really good ones. Okay, so next up we have a new fragrance by Zoologist. This is a unisex fragrance called Orchid Mantis. This is in keeping with the ethos of the brand. They are inspired by animals and their environments, and in this particular case, they're inspired by the idea of having an orchid lure a dancing butterfly to pollinate it, and then as the butterfly moves forward, unaware of the danger surrounding it, the orchid mantis clutches its delicate wings, and before the butterfly realizes, its head is crushed between the sneaky insect's jaws. Very graphic, but like I said, this brand is inspired by nature. So this perfume has notes of bergamot, lemon, dewy green notes, pear, and basil at the top, a heart of pink orchid, queen of the night, ylang-ylang, jasmine absolute, and rose absolute, and then a base of patchouli, vetiver, moss, sandalwood, and musk. This sounds like a really intriguing fragrance, not gonna lie. I have a few Zoologist samples, and I think I should probably get some more because it would be so fun to do a Zoologist video to kind of smell through the fragrances, because I feel like people think of Zoologist and like their whole brand is in a way shrouded with a lot of people being like, oh yeah, these are too intimidating, or these fragrances are too much. But in reality, I actually do like a lot of their fragrances. I think they're quite intriguing. They're really strong. I will say that. They're really strong fragrances. This one does seem to be relatively approachable. There's nothing in here that is, you know, raising alarm bells in my mind in any way. This does seem interesting, and it probably, like I said, is one of their approachable releases. And the bottle looks so interesting. But that insect does look a little bit scary, not gonna lie. But I do think, let me see. I do find it kind of interesting how with their fragrances, they really play around with the illustrations on the bottle design, making the kind of animal characters that are associated with their fragrances seem almost human, almost lifelike. I love that. I love that this is a niche brand that's doing that. Yeah, I'm intrigued by Zoologist in general. I think they have some really intriguing options, and I would like to potentially get a bottle of Zoologist perfume in 2025. We'll see. Sol de Janeiro is launching a fragrance called Flor Mystica. This is going to be one of their body mists. This is part of their permanent line, and this has top notes of orange blossom and coconut water, a mid of flamingo flower, Brazilian gardenia, and white rose petals, and then a base of lush palm leaf and golden musk. In general, when it comes to the Sol de Janeiro body mist, I really do actually like their musk accords in some of their perfumes. I think it's really wearable and really easy. And their prices are usually pretty affordable as well, around $25, pretty standard for a body mist that you'd find at Sephora. So I can't say that this is a fragrance that I will like absolutely be snapping up, but if you're looking for just a basic, good, easy body spray, I highly recommend trying all their Sol de Janeiro body mist just in general and picking the one that works the best for you, because I don't necessarily think you need the entire collection, but I do think that they have some really good options if you're generally looking to find a body mist. I really love Cheirosa 40, I believe, and Cheirosa 71 is one that I've had for years as well. This is actually a release I am super excited about. Reinvented is one of my favorite niche brands. The founders are absolutely lovely. They have some standout options. The way they do their fragrances is insane. Like, they have such a luxe way of presenting their perfumes. I love their fragrances. I've loved the brand for years. I have 2 fragrances from them. Epiphany is a wonderful incense with rose, with lime. It's so intriguing. And I also really love Pheromones from them. Doesn't contain real pheromones, it's just called that. But they have 2 new fragrances that I have not tried, but I want to try so badly. They have Lucid Dream and Enigmatic Aura. So let's break down the notes. Enigmatic Aura has a top note of saffron, a mid of Nagarmotha, and then Nard Himalayan. I don't know what that is. It looks like an aromatic kind of smoky note. And then we have a base of cashmere wood, vanilla, musk, and oud. Next, Lucid Dream is a fragrance with top notes of raspberry, saffron, and plum, a mid of saffron, rose, and white blossom, and then a base of sandalwood, patchouli, and oud. I am so intrigued by both of these fragrances. I really would love to get my nose on them, but I will say Reinvented specifically is a brand that you definitely do want to sample, because their fragrances are super unique. Their fragrances are blended in a certain way that you can't really pick out the individual notes sometimes. You really get to experience the way the fragrances come together, and they have some amazing options. Ethereal Soul is one of their newer options that was released a few months back, and that still is on my wish list. It is such an intriguing, fruity, mossy fragrance, like stunning, beautiful cherry. You guys know how picky I am with cherries, but I love this one. I have a decant of it. I have a little travel spray. Love it. Lasts all day. Amazing. I want to try these other fragrances because while the notes do seem really intriguing, I want to see how the fragrance is, so then I can identify if I want to get Ethereal Soul first or these. I generally like to love all the reinvented fragrances. I don't have an issue with any of them. I think they're all amazing, but I do have like the fragrances I prefer and the fragrances that I don't prefer as much. So I definitely do want to get like the best of the best. So I'm looking forward to seeing if I can source a decant of all these, or source a decant of these too, and see how they compare with the fragrances already on my wish list. I'm really excited about this. Next up, we have 3 new releases from a Saudi Arabian brand called Galati. This is a brand with a few really intriguing looking fragrances, but I will be talking about their 3 newest ones. Let me do a little bit of scrolling. So they have this brand new collection called Carthage, and they have 3 fragrances: Carthage Etoile, Carthage Noble, and then Carthage Velours. And Carthage Etoile is a fragrance with ambery and smoky notes. We have bergamot and rose at the top, a mid of incense and cashmere, and then a base of musk and amber. Next, Carthage Noble is a warm, spicy, smoky fragrance with top notes of mandarin and saffron, a mid of rose and nakigala wood, and then a base of incense and vanilla. Finally, Carthage Velours is a fragrance with violet. Interesting. Okay, we have pink pepper, blackberry, and peach, a heart of violet, rose petals, and saffron, and then a base of woody notes, cedarwood, olibanum, and amber. Okay, you guys know I want more blackberry fragrances, and I love violet. I love violet. I mean, one of the previous videos that I just filmed features Mallow. This is a gorgeous violet fragrance. I don't think my love for violet is going away anytime soon, so this seems so intriguing. Okay. This seems really intriguing. I want to know more. I want to know more about this brand. Will this be going on the wish list? I feel like it might. Okay. I'm having trouble finding a way to buy this in the US. Okay, I will report back. This does seem really intriguing. Yeah, I don't know. Have you heard of this brand? If so, is this only available in Saudi? And what are your thoughts? I'm curious. Next, we have a fragrance by Balmain. They're launching Blanc Galaxy. This is going to be a fragrance with notes of Sidra, Buddha's hand, bergamot, green mandarin, and lime at the top, a heart of myrtle, magnolia, and cardamom, and then a base of patchouli and musk. So this is essentially going to be a spicy, aromatic, woody fragrance. Let me see. Is Buddha's hand? Oh yeah, Buddha's hand is a plant. I was kind of curious about that. I was like, okay. So apparently it looks like this. I've definitely seen this before. And so essentially this is a fruit that's native to Asia. It resembles a hand with long finger-like segments. So it looks like that. It looks really intriguing. And essentially this is like another citrus. So it originated in India. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, interesting. I think in general, Balmain has released this line, right? And they've done it in a really interesting way. I'm intrigued by this designer fragrance line. I haven't tried anything from them. Have you tried it? If so, what were your favorite options? Because they have launched a lot of fragrances in this line. They came out with new fragrances rather quickly. Not gonna lie, I love seeing brands come out with fragrances that are citruses, but not necessarily just focused on lemon. You know, so this does seem really intriguing, but I am curious about the rest of the Balmain fragrances as well. I'm sure they must be available in stores. So yeah. Maybe I should go to New York and see if I can go to all the designer stores and try out the new fragrances. That's a good excuse to go to New York. I do live pretty close to New York, so it's relatively easy to just hop on the train and go to New York whenever I want. But yeah, I think I should smell through the Balm online. They do have a discovery set, yes, but I also might just need an excuse to get out of town. We'll see. But have you tried any of the Balm fragrances? If so, what do you think? This does seem to be rather intriguing. Next up, we have 2 new releases by Dolce & Gabbana. They are doing some really interesting things when it comes to the fragrance lines that they have. They have, of course, the Imperatrice. They just launched a new one, and they also have their private line, but this is going to be their mass market line. So they have Q and K. These are flankers of the original fragrances from both of these lines. K is going to have top notes of caramel and fig, with a mid of licorice and a base of sandalwood and woodsy notes. And then Q will be a fragrance with top notes of cherry, a mid of jasmine sambac, and then a base of vanilla. Isn't it intriguing when the most innovative looking fragrances are in the male category when it comes to designer perfumes? Because I feel like in this particular case, I mean, yes, the Q line by Dolce & Gabbana has always had, I think to my recollection, some kind of floral fruity combination with cherry. So this is in alignment with that theme, but in this case I'm way more intrigued by the K fragrance, the men's fragrance, because that seems to be more intriguing. But I will say, in terms of cherry fragrances in general, I did like the cherry in the original Q fragrance. I didn't mind it. I thought it was nice. So I will say that. So yeah, another fragrance release from a designer brand. It seems intriguing, but doesn't seem to be like too wow. But then again, you can't really expect a lot of designer fragrances to be pushing the envelope, because again, these are fragrances that are meant to appeal to the widest demographic. So they're not going to be super inventive. They're going to go for fragrances that most people will appreciate. All right, that's it for this video. This was such a long video to film. There's so many releases. I feel like I try to be really fast with, talking about each one of these, but I get so long-winded, I get so chatty, it just like balloons into a really long video most of the time. But thank you for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed this one and found it interesting. Do let me know in the comments below if you stayed this long. Do you like these longer videos? Do you like seeing longer Smash or Pass videos, or do you prefer like more condensed versions? I tend to get really chatty, as you probably can tell. So I try to pack as much in one video as I can, but it can kind of get a little bit tough. But also do let me know, do you prefer seeing more niche releases, like mainstream designer? Like what category do you look forward to the most? Because I will start to prioritize those fragrances. So yeah, let me know, what are your thoughts? I'm trying to cover as much as I can in one of these videos, but of course it can get a little bit tricky sometimes. But I will say, if you are on TikTok and you love my content, definitely consider following me on TikTok as well, because I do publish videos, I would say several times a day on TikTok at the moment. And TikTok is where I can quickly do, bite-sized videos, bite-sized tidbits on new releases. So I will often post sneak peeks of new releases on TikTok and kind of wait to publish those releases on YouTube until I have more information. So if you want to see more fragrance news, definitely follow me on there, because I do like a bunch of different content, not just what I publish on here. I really kind of expand my reach there. But yeah, thank you for watching till the end. I hope you found this video useful and helpful. Let me know what you're looking forward to the most in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.